Star Wars Revenge of the Sith is the next film we are looking at. So we've just covered Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Now we are at Revenge of the Sith, the third prequel film in this trilogy. Now, there is so much to discuss with this film. I mean, this film is just absolutely bonkers awesome. Love this film. So we're going to talk about it. So smash me your thoughts down in the comment section below. What did you guys think of Revenge of the Sith? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Smash it down there. Smash that like button for me and click subscribe as well. And let's get into this deeper dive of Revenge of the Sith right now. So, Revenge of the Sith, the third movie in the prequel sort of trilogy era. This, I remember blatantly sitting in the theater. And when the trailer came up for the first time, I remember sitting there as a kid and just thinking to myself, oh my god, this looks absolutely amazing. Like, as a kid, you don't fully comprehend what's actually happening at that time, but just the sheer emotion, the sheer excitement and joy I got out of seeing the Revenge of the Sith trailer and seeing that Darth Vader moment, that hearing that voice, you're just kind of like, yes, this is going to be insane. So growing up, I've always loved this film so much. Like, this has been one of my favorites of all the Star Wars movies and all the Star Wars properties that have come out recently. Revenge of the Sith has always been in my top two. It's always been there. I love this film. It is just full of action. This is definitely the fastest paced movie out of all the Star Wars films, with action sequences constantly always happening. It moves along very quickly, but it isn't without its flaws. There is a lot of things wrong with Revenge of the Sith. Like, for instance, this does feel like they have crammed so much into a two hour and 2.5 hours, if that. I don't even think it's that. I don't even think it makes a 2.5 hour mark. But you can definitely see that they condensed a lot of stuff into this movie, where they should have just made this 3 hours and really, could have expanded upon things as well. So let's start at the beginning with that opening sequence, which I think is the greatest opening sequence of any Star Wars movie. The scene with the Jedi starfighters, with Anakin and Obi-Wan in there going through to save the Chancellor. Like, this scene of them flying through this space battle is just epic. It's so freaking awesome. Like, the visuals are stunning. Just everything about this whole opening sequence, I absolutely adore and love. Like, it's just so good. It's so good. And we get to see Anakin start to already, battle with his emotions, where the clone trooper's like, I've got him on my back. And Anakin's like, well, I'm going to go help him. And Obi-Wan's like, no, you can't. They're doing their job so we can do ours. And you can see the frustration on Anakin's face already. Like, this is a guy that wants to save people. So we're already got the seeds from the last episode 2. And we are starting to expound upon the emotions of Anakin. He's very driven by his emotions in this movie. And that's what ultimately turns him to the dark side. So you have that whole opening sequence. They get on the ship. And you have this moment where they feel like Count Dooku's there, they're springing a trap, so they go up to the Chancellor, and they free him, and then this is where we see Count Dooku. So, Count Dooku fights Obi-Wan and Anakin, and I really enjoy this fight, and this is the first instance where Palpatine really starts to use his manipulation on Anakin in this situation, and we've seen him start to plant the seeds and, really take a closer look at Anakin as he's grown up and always been there for him. But this is the instant where he fully grasps, Anakin's the one that I'm going to take. And he starts already planting the seeds. We see Anakin start to give into his emotions again during this fight, where Obi-Wan gets thrown away by Count Dooku. And Count Dooku then crushes his legs with that thing, part of the ship, where he just drops it on him, and we see Anakin really get angry, and Count Dooku senses that, you have much fear, you have much anger, but you don't use them. It makes you powerful, and you just see the skill level of Anakin. Count Dooku's one of the greatest swordsmen. He's really, really good with a lightsaber, but Anakin obviously is just superior in this battle, and he's giving into his emotions. So this is where we already start to see this turn begin. The seeds have been planted. And as he's doing it, he ends up chopping Count Dooku's arms off, and he's got him they're ready for the big scissors to decapitate him. He doesn't want to. Anakin knows it's wrong not to do it. So this is where the internal battle begins. Like, do I kill Count Dooku and end it, or do I take him in? And realistically, he's got no hands, so he's not as much of a threat anymore, being with no hands. Like, he can't really do much. So, but Palpatine obviously just tells him, like, you need to do it. And this is where Palpatine starts to manipulate Anakin, be like, you need to kill him. Do it. And Anakin does it. And this is the first instance where we see that whole manipulation start to take fold. And then they start to take it. Palpatine wants them to leave Obi-Wan, but Anakin's like, no, his fate is going to be the same. So this whole opening sequence is absolutely phenomenal with that fight with Count Dooku. Loved it. We meet General Grievous for the first time. They have a little conflict as well. They land the ship, which was absolutely fun as well. And then this is where, when they get back, where they realize that General Grievous is now in control of the droid army, so they got to stop him to stop this war. And Anakin and Padme meet up again. This is the first time we see them meet up, and this is where Anakin finds out that he's going to be a father. So you have now an even more emotional attachment for Anakin with his children as well that Padme has had. So this is where we start to see these visions come back for Anakin. Anakin had him about his mother, and now he's having him about Padme. Padme giving birth and dying in childbirth. So the fear is setting in, and Anakin really took a massive toll when his mother died, where he felt like he couldn't save her. So his whole purpose now is, I need to save Padme, no matter what. I can't lose another person that's close to me like that. I need to save her. So he's willing to do anything at this point. And we have this whole back and forth going on with Anakin's internal struggle of, what do I do? And he even goes to Master Yoda to ask for wisdom about this. And Master Yoda says, you got to learn to let go. Like, let go of these things. This fear is going to lead you down to the dark side. So Palpatine obviously wants to get Anakin into the Jedi Council as well, and the Jedi Council want Anakin to look on him, to spy on him, because they don't trust him. And we see Palpatine even more to start to manipulate Anakin when Anakin goes to meet him at that opera place, and he starts to tell him about Darth Plagueis. This is our first name drop of Darth Plagueis, so if you guys know about Darth Plagueis, he's Palpatine's master. And he starts to tell him about the story of Plagueis and how he was able to save people from death. What does Anakin want more in the world? To save people from death. He wants to save Padme. So you can see Palpatine is manipulating Anakin by giving him these little informations here and there, just dribbling it there and be like, look, there is a way to do it. No, full knowing that he doesn't know the way to save it, but he doesn't care. Like, he's just trying to get Anakin to the dark side. Like, he does not care whether he can save Padme or not. But he knows what buttons to push for Anakin. And Anakin's already internally struggling, so now he's got this on top of that. So when Palpatine tells Anakin where General Grievous is, he wants Anakin to go to see General Grievous, knowing full well that the Council is not going to let Anakin go. And by doing that, it's only going to make Anakin hate the Council more and not trust them more, because they already didn't give him the rank of Master when they put him on the Council. So he knows this, so he's already moving the pieces and trying to do it, because he knows now he has to move everything forward. Like, this whole plan has to go forward, and he can't sit on it anymore. The Jedi are getting onto him. So you have this whole back and forth chess match with Palpatine, and this is why Palpatine is such a great villain, because he does this behind the scenes and he executes his plan. This has been a plan that Darth Vader has put in for thousands of years beforehand, and now it's finally coming to fruition. So, with this manipulation going on, obviously they sent Obi-Wan Kenobi to go and fight General Grievous. And that whole sequence when he's fighting General Grievous is just absolutely awesome. I love that sequence. Of course, the Master of Defense fighting a guy with 4 arms and 4 lightsabers, like a robotic being. Like, it's so awesome. It's a great fight. It's a great sequence. And I really enjoyed that moment as well. And obviously having Anakin back at the temple, he then goes and tells the Chancellor about Obi-Wan engaging, and then this is where Palpatine reveals himself to be the Sith Lord. He reveals himself to Anakin, and Anakin is angry because he's like, well, you've manipulated me, you lied to me, you're the Sith Lord. Like, Anakin wants to kill him. So Anakin then decides, look, it's not the Jedi way to kill you. I'm gonna go and turn you over to the Council. So he goes and tells Mace Windu. And him and Mace Windu already don't see eye to eye. They already hate each other and that. But Mace Windu tells him, you need to stay here. If this is true, you would have gained my trust. So Mace Windu goes off to face Palpatine. So Kenobi has killed General Grievous at this point. So they're going to go relieve his power and basically return the emergency power back to the Senate, which... Palpatine doesn't want, because if he loses that, then he loses control and he's going to be voted out, and it's not going to work. His plan's not going to work anymore. So, as Mace Windu does, Palpatine just slaughters 3 Jedis and then starts fighting Mace Windu. Mace Windu obviously gets the better of him, but he doesn't get the better of him because he's better. It's because Palpatine can sense and feel that Anakin's on his way. He knows Anakin's coming because... that information about being able to save Padme is just too much for Anakin to resist. He needs to know more about it. So he purposely does lose and get into that situation where Master Windu does have him pinned up against the window there. And Anakin comes in and sees him using the Force Lightning, and Palpatine saying like, oh, I'm getting weaker. I can't hold on much longer. So Anakin now has a choice. He can either go down the Jedi route, trust Master Windu, kill Palpatine, boom, the Sith are gone, they're no more. Or kill Mace Windu, keep Palpatine alive, and become his apprentice. So he's got this internal struggle, save Padme, or risk never ever having the chance to find that power to save Padme. So it's this internal struggle, and this is what makes Anakin such a great character, is this internal struggle that he constantly goes through. What do I do? Like, I want to save Padme, and I need this information to do that, but I can't go against the Jedi, can I? Can I do that? Like, it's just so good. And ultimately, the manipulation, the emotion, the power of love for Padme overcomes Anakin, and he chops Mace Windu's hand off as he's about to kill Palpatine. And then Palpatine, obviously, he's never out of power. He's just uses unlimited power again and throws Mace Windu out of the window with his Force Lightning. And now we see Anakin submit to becoming Darth Vader. This is where he finally turns to the dark side. Order 66 happens, and this is one of the most emotional things in all of Star Wars. Order 66 is just one of those like heart-wrenching moments where all the Jedi are dying, and we just sitting there like, oh my god, this is just like insane. This was just brutal. And then Anakin obviously storming the Jedi Temple and killing the younglings as well. Just made you the rise and fall of Anakin is one of the most tragic stories in all of Star Wars, and is one of the most tragic characters of all time. Like, Anakin's rise and fall is just so tragic. A guy that just wanted to save his wife, save his mother, and just the amount of pain and loss that he has gone through and just continues to go through until Return of the Jedi. Like, he just goes through so much stuff. He's just such a tragic character. And then on top of that, killing younglings because he has to. It's just absolutely brutal. Obviously, Master Yoda and Obi-Wan survive, but all the other Jedis, they're gone. So they rendezvous with Bail Organa. So they're now together, and they're like, we need to go back to the Jedi Temple. We need to refix this code so the Jedi don't come to the temple and get killed. So we see this beautiful sequence as well of Master Yoda and Obi-Wan going through there, killing the clones, restructuring the message to tell all Jedi to stay away. And then the moment of truth where Obi-Wan looks at the hologram and he sees young Anakin destroying and killing Padawans. And just this dread of Obi-Wan, knowing what's coming next, he turns to Master Yoda, and without Master Yoda saying anything, he says, send me to kill Palpatine. Like, send me to kill the Emperor. I cannot kill Anakin. He is a brother to me. And this is why Qui-Gon Jinn was so important to Anakin, because Obi-Wan is a brother, and when you have a brother-sibling relationship, Obi-Wan's like the older brother, Anakin's like the young one. Anakin's the young, hungry, thirsty, driven one that just, you always want to push me down, I'm always in your shadow, like, I need to break free, I can do this. Where Obi-Wan's the more calm, collected, older brother that's like, you just need to chill out, we can do this together, work this out. And then they have, obviously, once they don't see eye to eye, it's almost literally impossible in a fit of rage to do anything about it. Where Qui-Gon Jinn was the father figure that Anakin needed. Like, I feel like because Anakin feels like throughout this whole entire movie, he can't go to Obi-Wan and open up about Padme or anything like that. But if Qui-Gon was there, I feel like he could open up to Qui-Gon, because Qui-Gon was much more along than the Jedi are right now with love and everything like that. I feel like Qui-Gon Jinn just had a better understanding of the Force and let the Force dictate what was going on, not other things. So I feel like he could have really talked to Qui-Gon and probably would never have turned to the dark side. Like, he never would have, because Qui-Gon, I think, would be able to talk Anakin out of that. So they now decide Obi-Wan isn't strong enough to fight the Emperor, so Obi-Wan's going to go fight Anakin, and then obviously Yoda's going to go fight the Emperor. We see this whole sequence of Anakin just killing and murdering more people on Mustafar. He's killing the separatist leaders, and this is where he's fully starting to really dive into becoming a Dark Lord of the Sith. He really is starting to turn there. We see his eyes start to turn yellow. But what I love is the detail of his eyes starting to turn yellow and going on and off. It's like he's still internally struggling with, does he fully commit and submit to the dark side, or does he stay in the light side? And it's just so great. That dynamic is so great, and that was very effective. So we have this situation where Obi-Wan comes up to Padme and asks Padme, like, yo, I mean, where's Anakin? Like, we need to stop his turn to the dark side. Obi-Wan knows that it's Anakin's son, and she's like, no, it's not true. So she goes to Mustafar. Obi-Wan gets on the Starfighter without her knowing, and they end up there, and Anakin sees and is telling Padme, like, we can rule the galaxy, make things the way we want them to be. And she starts to realize, fuck, Obi-Wan's right. Like, you're not who you were. And this is where he sees Obi-Wan, and this whole sequence of Anakin fully giving in to his rage, choking Padme, even though he loves her, and a fit of rage, and then blaming Obi-Wan for this. And then the fight happens. Like, this is the best lightsaber fight in all of Star Wars for me. I love this fight with Anakin and Obi-Wan. The narrative that is there when they're fighting is absolutely fantastic. Brothers fighting each other. Like, there's just so much narrative. You have Obi-Wan not wanting to kill Anakin, trying his best to not do that. While Anakin is frustrated, full of rage, full of, you're taking the one thing I cherish the most away from me. So he's going full on attack. Obi-Wan's in full on defense mode, trying not to fully kill Anakin and try to make him come to his senses. And as the fight wears on, it's just this beautiful sequence of stuff happening. And you just see the sheer great defensive that Obi-Wan has that is stopping Anakin's full-on flurry of attacks. And as we go through, we just see Obi-Wan start to finally realize, like, yep, you're gone. Like, that's the narrative of this fight. As it slowly progresses, Obi-Wan realizes, like, I can't beat Anakin one-on-one here. It's just not possible, because he's more powerful than me, but he's fully gone now. Like, I can't save him at this point. Like, I cannot. So this is where he decides to jump on the high ground, and then the whole high ground situation happens. Anakin becoming arrogant with his power, being like, you underestimate me again. Well, I'm going to show you. And as he jumps, Obi-Wan chops him up. And we have that beautiful, beautiful sequence of Obi-Wan just saying to him, like, you were a brother to me. I loved you. Like, that whole sequence was just absolutely incredible. And yeah, we see the fall of Anakin right there as he catches fire. Obi-Wan leaves, thinking he's dead from that. And then obviously we have Master Yoda and Palpatine going on. That fight's decent. It's nothing like great or anything like that, like outstanding, but it's decent as well. And we get to see Yoda and Palpatine dwindle in their power a little bit. We never got to see them at full power. But then we have the shot of Darth Vader. Padme's gives birth to Luke and Leia, and then all that stuff happens. So I love this movie. It's just so much fun. It's entertaining. It's got great lightsaber fights, great characters. Anakin's rise and fall here is just fantastic. I absolutely love it. It works so well for me. The visual effects are stunning in this film. Best visual effects of all the prequel movies. Great opening sequence, the score, just everything about this movie I absolutely love and adore. And it still remains my second favorite in the Star Wars franchise. I love this movie so much. It's just great. And Anakin is one of my favorite characters of all time. Like, I just love Anakin's Anakin to Darth Vader. I love that rise and fall. It's just a great character arc. So let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of Revenge of the Sith? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Smash it down in that comment section below. Smash that like button for me and click subscribe. And I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe. Peace out.